We went back to our top 10.
Yes, actually our entire team is waiting by, so let's get them now. And a lot of the stocks are moving. ABB should come up for you. Today it's in pre-opening, there's not too much of an up move, but I want to get Pragya in on this. Pragya, you know, Ajay was telling us that the valuations at more than 50 times make it very uncomfortable to recommend the stock now. Is that the primary concern that the brokerages have?
Absolutely, Sonia. You know, you hit the nail on the head. Compare that to a Cummins India, where we have also seen some sort of revival in the performance. A lot of the management efforts bearing fruit. That stock is trading at 55% discount to ABB. In fact, you know, giving double the ROEs that ABB is giving at this point of time. And with ABB, what we do not know is that, you know, if this margin performance will be sustainable going forward as well. So, this company, like a lot of the other companies, is definitely a victim of the slowdown that we've seen in the power sector. And we need to see a meaningful turnaround as far as the overall order inflows, etc., which still have continued to remain muted this time. You know, we have to see if, you know, that will give a sustained effort. You know, typically what happens for a lot of these capital goods companies, the quarter four, the last quarter of the financial year, is a very big quarter for them, as we've seen in the case of BHEL, as is the case with ABB. So we need to see if this performance is definitely sustainable, but valuation is very expensive at that one, at 54 times on a one-year forward basis.
Okay, Sonia, just about 30 seconds. Ashok Leyland, do you think it'll move?
Well, in pre-opening, I didn't check really how it's moving, but it should today. It was up about 1% or so, I think, in pre-opening. And if that deal eventually comes through, then it's a big positive. We don't know the quantum of the deal, how much it will pare off their debt from 5,400 crores, but sentimentally it will move on.
Yeah, if the market is in a risk-prone mood, then perhaps it will jump on to Ashok Leyland, since valuations are attractive.
I wanted to get Ekta in on this, if she is standing by. Ranbaxy is actually up almost about 2.5% right now. Ekta, just give us the news and also, you know, why the stock could be up about 2.5%.
Well, Sonia, you know, I think Ranbaxy has become immune to bad news, and maybe the stock has gone down so much that it's possibly not factoring in what is actually a possible negative for Ranbaxy. Now, the news with Ranbaxy and the Teva settlement now poses some lack of certainty in terms of what happens to Ranbaxy, in terms of any sort of tie-ups that they have on other drugs, such as Diovan generic, Valside generic, which they haven't received US FDA approval for, which they have exclusivity on, and which apparently the market was thinking that they have possible tie-ups with other companies if in case Ranbaxy doesn't get US FDA approval in time, and hence maybe another company could launch the drug on their behest, and maybe there could be some amount of a sharing which takes place between Ranbaxy and that company. Remember that on the conference call they had stated specifically that they are protected in terms of their exclusivities. So most of the analysts had interpreted it as the fact that Ranbaxy is possibly going to launch the drug with a tie-up with another company. Now, after this New York Attorney General settlement, which is coming at $300,000 with Teva and Ranbaxy together, that was basically based on Lipitor generic, which was all the way back in an agreement in 2010 that if in case Ranbaxy did not receive approval for Lipitor generic, then Teva would launch it and there would be a profit-sharing agreement between both of them. Now, the New York Attorney General had investigated this case in 2010 and said that it opposes antitrust laws. So that in a sense says that because, like Lata mentioned, there could be some amount of a cartelization or anti-competitiveness between the two companies, and hence that agreement was illegal and they cannot enter into such agreements going forward, then this would definitely pose a risk on what Ranbaxy might do in terms of future settlements, considering that they have that big cloud of US FDA issues and hence US FDA approvals on key drugs which they have exclusivity on. So that's the big uncertainty on Ranbaxy at this point in time. I'm perplexed on why the stock is up.
Okay. Well, Anuj, the stocks that you are watching?
Yeah, before that, Lala, just a word on the market, you know, because the bank nifty is down about 0.2%, and the stocks that we mentioned, ICICI Bank in particular, you know, has opened a bit soft. So that will be the space to watch out for. Of course, that was one of my stocks to watch out for as well, ICICI Bank, as we said, right between 50 and 200-day moving average. So this really is the zone for the market, actually, you know, and stocks like ICICI Bank. It will tell you whether indeed it was a base formation and a big rally is being prepared, or are these stocks now running their course and actually preparing for a bit of a correction. Also, in terms of individual stocks, Arvind Mills from the mid-cap space would be the one that I'll be watching out for. It looks like today would be that kind of a day where large caps would take a bit of a rest and some of the mid-caps would come back in action. So Arvind has opened firm about 0.5% higher. That would be the one to watch out for.
All right, HMT is also up about 6% odd. That was Varinder's stock. So Varinder, go ahead. Does this stock really deserve, I mean, the kind of moves that it's seeing, or do you think that it's just irrational exuberance?
Well, to put it mildly, it's a punter stock, and sure, along with HMT, you will see ITA moving up. It has nothing to do with what came for HMT. As I said, they got to nearly 900 crores. A package from government in 2007, and since then they have been making losses, and even now nearly 1100 crores coming in, which will be divided in various phases. The first phase they will only get nearly 220 crores with accumulated losses of over 600 crores, debt of nearly 1500 crores. The only savior which market has been hoping for a company like 2000 crores is the land sale. Don't know when it will happen, because I've been hearing the same from the last 5 years. But this package coming in has nothing to do or will not help the company, which is deep in problem. This was for HMT, but a small word on FT, which we have been talking about. The stock has been moving higher. The only reason, apart from that, FT and Tech Mahindra, because Tech Mahindra has clearly denied us that whether they are approaching the company or not. But there are two more imminent, things which are going on the ground, and that is also the reason why the stock has been moving up. One is that stake sale, in MCX, where they have been told to reduce from 26% to 2%. Remember, tomorrow Bombay High Court will be hearing that the petition which has been filed, and they will decide whether they have to bring down the stake or not. If that happens, that could be important. So that remains that tomorrow could be important for FT. And second, of course, has been the big settlement talks which has been going around, in which Jignesh Shah could give away 1100 crores to investors, which has been going around. But for FT, they have made the company debt free, but the problem of NACL are huge still on FT, which are unlikely on MCX. So anyone to come in on FT has to do a lot with how the NACL issue will be tackled.
Absolutely.
So for me, I will watch the NACL issue first, because anyone, Tech Mahindra or XYZ coming in, they don't want to take the burden of NACL, along with FT.
Point
so
taken.
That is a big thing in FT, and I will not be surprised that sell-on news comes in FT today.
Point taken, Varinder. But really, there is no sell-on news on Gujarat Pipavav. Ushang, your stock is up and away, and maybe we should look at a 1 year of that stock, or a 6 month, to give you an idea of how emphatic the breakout has been. Take it away, Ushang.
Well, so in the pre-opening trades, Gujarat Pipavav was doing higher by around 2% odd, and it is likely that almost like 16% is what it might have gained across say this whole year. But the results which came in were superb over there. Like excellent numbers came in with the profit figure coming higher by 114% odd, and the margins were also pretty good by 57% versus 48% on a year-on-year basis over there. Additionally, like the stock performance earlier yesterday was 11% higher, so more or less the gains are have been already taken over there. But you can maybe see the stock inching in a bit more higher in trade today. Another is GAIL, which is more or less flattish. Any which way is like the PNG RB's statement, which was they intend to go ahead with separate legal entities for marketing of gas and for transmission and pipelines, is to be done by 2017. So maybe on back of that, since it's something which is a forward-looking thing over there, the stock might not be moving so much over there.
All right, Ushang, thanks so much, and all of our other teammates, thanks for joining us and giving us that long list.